His name is FM-2030. Really, FM-2030 is the legal name of a California-based futurist whose original name was much more conventional, FM Esfandiari. Under that byline, his work has appeared in such respected publications as the New York Times. Esfandiari changed his name, he says, to affirm his belief that the years around 2030 will be, in his words, a magical time. FM-2030's latest book is Are You a Transhuman? A checklist of change the author is sure is coming in the 21st century. David George reports on the vision of an original and sometimes outrageous futurist.
We began our interview with the man who calls himself FM-2030 at, of all places, a hospital. The same Atlanta hospital where he'd undergone emergency surgery just a few weeks earlier. FM says in the future, hospitals won't just fix our ailing bodies, they'll issue replacements.
We will not only be able to replace very nearly any part, any malfunctioning part of the body, but we'll be able to do something infinitely more, I think, exciting. And that is, we just give the person a new body.
Whole body?
Whole body, yeah, replacement body.
One fell swoop or piece by piece?
Well, either way, and probably both ways.
FM says the number of people walking around today with transplanted organs, artificial limbs, and synthetic body parts is proof that the ultimate makeover is only a matter of time.
You know, if we are able to build bridges and ships and even buildings that last for hundreds of years, why can't we build bodies that can last for hundreds of years? Or bodies that can be easily jettisoned or easily replaced? And I believe we will.
But won't that increase the strain on a world already running out of room? FM-2030 says there's plenty of room left on Earth, thanks to technology that makes it possible for humans to build cities in the deserts and outposts at the poles and to live almost anywhere we want. And then there's always space.
In the coming years and decades, we will spread out across first near Earth space, low orbital, Earth orbital, obviously lunar things, Martian colonies and so forth, and later deep space, meaning beyond Mars. So space is really not a problem.
Keeping in touch across the miles won't be a problem either if FM-2030's vision of the future comes true. He says satellite technology has already created the beginnings of what he calls a telesphere world, in which people won't just talk, they'll teleconnect.
If one is teleconnected, one is plugged in, then there is no far or near. And what this is doing is recontexting the architecture of life on this planet.
Teleconnection, he says, will mean more and more of us working outside the plant or office. He concedes some jobs, the ones that require the worker to be there hands-on, will still exist, though in fewer numbers, as machines take over more and more of what passes for work in the 20th century.
But the need to drive to work every day and spend several hours there and then drive back, etc., that will probably phase out. In fact, I'm sure it'll phase out. Thanks again to telecommunication.
Driving anywhere will be easier in the 21st century, FM-2030 says, thanks to cars with onboard navigation systems and highways with computerized traffic control. If that sounds like an old idea, it is.
Safe distance between cars is maintained by automatic radio control.
It's been around at least since this movie was shown at the World's Fair in 1939. More than 50 years, and we haven't followed through yet.
That's right, we still haven't. Well, in part because the automobile was not such a heavy presence. It was not an intrusive thing. But now we have reached the saturation point, and I think we're going to begin doing something about it.
FM-2030's primer on how to prepare for life in the 21st century contains checklists you can use to gauge how ready you are for life in the future. Though some readers may never be ready for the author's dismissive view of traditions and rituals. Here's what he says about weddings.
Wedding ceremonies, these are rituals that allow two people to announce to the world that they now belong to each other. Weddings would be more honest if the bride and bridegroom peed on each other to establish their territory. Keep out, everybody, this is now my property. The idea is that we're moving away from ritual and from exclusivity and territoriality. We're growing more and more fluid, more and more global, more and more mobile.
And in the process, less and less human? FM-2030 says yes.
The fact that we're no longer of this planet only, and the fact that we're no longer confined to these bodies, leads me to foresee a time, very short, very, very shortly, I'd say in the coming 2-3 decades, when in fact by no stretch of imagination, by no stretch of definition can anyone be called human. We are already trans-biological, trans-solar beings, and therefore we are transhuman. And even transhuman is not our final destination. It's just a transitional phase from the human to something infinitely more advanced, infinitely more refined, infinitely more sophisticated, and that is the post-humans of the middle of the 21st century.
Is FM-2030 putting us on? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe our grandchildren will find out for sure. David George, CNN, Future Watch.
For all of us here at Future Watch, I'm Donna Kelly. Thanks for watching. Join us again next week for another journey into the 21st century. And now stay with CNN for the latest news.